Hello, today we are going to apply the Pythagorean theorem to solve some problems. I'm going to do the problem that is example 1 on page 396 of your textbook. That's 7-3, and it's about a kite. All right, let's get into it. Kiana is using a kit to build the kite shown. The kite includes 3 different lengths of wooden dowels. How can Kiana decide what pieces of wood to use as diagonal braces for the top or bottom of the kite? Now, this is in your textbook and the answer is there, but I'm just going to illustrate how I would figure this out. So we have the top of the kite here and the bottom of the kite here. So what they're saying is the kite, if you were to look down, like bird's eye view of it, would be 28 inches on the bottom and it'd be like 21 inches here. So it's making a whole square. That's what the top looks like, that's what the bottom looks like. And we want to make a diagonal brace so the kite doesn't break in the wind. So what is the length here? Because we want to use one of these dowels to put in that section of the kite. Okay, so the easiest way to do this is to use some Pythagorean theorem. Let's go ahead and write down our formula. We know that any right triangle, and this would be a right triangle because it's asking us to use Pythagorean theorem, would be a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, what information do we already have? We know that this is going to be the c length because it's the hypotenuse. The diagonal is always the hypotenuse, the right angle is there, so that's the c length. So we have 2 other legs, a and b. Let's just call this one a, let's call this one b. There's my stylus. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say a is 28. B is 21 and C is unknown, and let's make sure that we add our squared signs. So these are starting to get real big numbers and you're probably going to want to use a calculator. Maybe you don't have a calculator. I'm going to be including in this lesson, not this lesson, but on the page of my Schoology, how to use the squared sign on your iPhone if you have an iPhone, so go ahead and check that out. Also, if you literally type in 28 and the word squared into Google, it will give you an answer. So 28 squared happens to be 441, and 21 squared happens to be, nope, I had it backwards in my notes. My apologies. Let's just go ahead and do this again. 28 squared happens to be 784. 21 squared happens to be 441. There we go. Equals c squared. We're going to add these together. 784 plus 441 is 1225 equals c squared. I am running out of room, so I'm going to go to the next page. So I had 1225 is equal to c squared. Now remember, I have to get c alone because c is the length that I'm trying to figure out. And I cannot just leave c with squared there, so I need to get rid of that squared sign. We know the opposite of a square is taking the square root of something. So I'm going to take the square root here, and that is going to eliminate the squared sign, but I know I have to take the square root of this side too. Again, if you just type in literally the words square root of 1225 in Google, you're going to get this answer. Also, you could use an iPhone calculator. Also, you could use a calculator if you have it. The square root of 1225 is 35. All right, so there you have it. This is our answer. Now, I just want to point out a couple things. You definitely want to prove that you got the answer using Pythagorean theorem, but if we had a triangle and it had these dimensions, we know a couple of things, which is that the hypotenuse has to be the biggest, so this cannot be 28. 28 would not work because 28 is the side length of a leg, so that wouldn't work. And we know 49 most likely would not work because 21 plus 28 has to be a bigger sum than the hypotenuse to work. We remember that from 7th grade, the triangle theorem. So 49 can't be the answer either, so 35 is the most reasonable. All right. So check this out in the book to see a little bit more written out work, and then go ahead and try the practice problems.